next Saturday at West High School. It's from 7 to 12. If you can't do the whole time, just help out when you can. We don't necessarily need everyone to stay from 7 to 12. If you can, great. But otherwise, we just want your help if you can. Just your volunteer efforts will be greatly rewarded, I think, and that's really all it is. Next Saturday, we'll have one more chance to sign up at next week's meeting, but otherwise, we'd like to be able to get this kind of satisfied as far as the roster as quickly as possible, so we know we have the manpower that we need. Yes, Rogers.
How many did you say you had signed up already?
10. And, it says 15 to 20, so, but, 5 is probably won't be plenty. But, people always, some people don't get sick or whatever, so, we like to have a few extra.
If we had, it wouldn't be bad to send a few back home, or let's just sit around and talk. It's good fellowship,
Yes.
and there's always opportunities to do something down there. So if we have too many, plus you get a free flu shot.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you so much.
and it's fun getting the donations and stuff too, and meeting the people. It's really a good opportunity to socialize and be a good service to our community. With that, speaking of service to the community and the world, Phil, if you would, please introduce our speaker today.
He's talking about our speaker, not me, as far as service to the world.
I think that figures that out.
I just wanted to clarify that, Tom, real quick. We are very fortunate today to have Susie Racek, and she also has someone with her today, Kelsey Crittenden. Kelsey, would you stand up? Both of you stand up. There. Give them a round of applause if you would. A little bit about Susie. She's Executive Director of the East Tennessee Divisions of the March of Dimes. She's a native of Knoxville, out in Fountain City. Has been in the nonprofit fundraising special events work in Knoxville community for over 30 years. She's a graduate of UT, has been involved in many associations. She's the director of the March of Dimes for almost 5 years now. She manages the division offices in Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Tri-Cities. Heads up all the fundraising and community program outreach in all of those divisions. She lives in Farragut, and the love of her life is Christina, her daughter. Is that right?
Sure.
Come forward, Susie. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you very much for having me here today. I want to make a quick mention to Sarah Hinton. He mentioned my daughter Tina. She was the proud recipient of the Spirit Award in honor of your mother in her senior year at Bearden High School, and I knew your mama was very, very proud of that. So now I'm here to talk to you guys about March of Dimes. I'm looking around the room, and I would say probably half of you totally get it, totally know it, have grown up with it, and then there may be some of you that don't have a clue what March of Dimes is. How many of you know March of Dimes, have been involved, educated on it? Anybody in here? Don't be embarrassed if you don't really know what we do. Good. You're the kind of people I like to get to. But as many of you know, March of Dimes has been around for 76 years. Founded in 1938 by our president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He was affected by polio himself, and his first charge for March of Dimes, which actually when he founded it was called the National Foundation of Infantile Paralysis. He was in leg braces himself, and he was watching around him so many children that were being born and affected by that he charged this nation to collect dimes to go toward research, to develop. This thing kind of cuts out on me once in a while. Hello? There we go. I got to get really close to it. But his charge was to collect dimes all over the nation to provide funding for research to eradicate polio. Now, you guys are Rotarians and you're on a polio charge right now, but in the United States, by the end of, say, mid-40s, polio was no longer seen in our country. We did what we set out to do. I'm very proud to say that because so many nonprofits, they always have a goal they never seem to reach. But doggone it, March of Dimes did it. And at the point in time, right before the 50s, they changed their focus to prematurity, discovering that birth defects and prematurity went hand in hand. A lot of research needed to go into those two areas in order to define what caused prematurity. What could we do as adults in the childbearing years, as mom in our prenatal stages, to offset any potential reasons for prematurity. So over the last number of decades, that has been our number one focus, along with birth defects. Like I said, we're a 76-year-old organization. We represent one of the oldest and most loved nonprofits in the country. We are identified by 98% of women in this country because they are educated through the prenatal stage in their childbearing years. Now, how do we raise money? We do it on the local level. We have a national office in White Plains, New York, and we have 800 offices across the country. We operate with very limited staff. We're a very volunteer-driven organization, and we raise roughly $200 million a year to fund research and find out what causes prematurity. We are on the bandwagon to streamline our efforts to reduce prematurity down to 8% of all births by 2017, and right now we're tracking to meet that goal. Now, most of you are saying prematurity, I've never been affected, I've never been engaged in anything like this, no one in my family, but the truth is, all of us are March of Dimes babies. All of us remember getting those vaccinations. I know I stood in line in my schoolway hall and waited on a sugar cube to get my vaccinations, and I'm really telling my age here. But a lot of those things are handled through our pediatrician offices these days. But when the cures and the research came about in developing these vaccinations, that was the mass way to make sure everyone got those vaccinations. There are a number of things that have affected each and every one of you in this room that you may not be aware of. And I'm going to show you a video done by Chris Pratt, an actor, who was affected. Firstborn was severely premature, and once that happened to him, once he was really, really tied to the mission, he set out to support the March of Dimes 1,000% in their charge to eliminate as much premature birth as possible in our country. And it's a very good video. I'm anxious to show it to you now.
You may not know it, but if you were born in the United States in the last 75 years, you share something special with millions of Americans. You are a March of Dimes baby. What does that mean? To answer that, we have to go back, way back, to 1938, when the polio virus was one of the most devastating threats to both children and adults. President Franklin Roosevelt, a polio survivor himself, created the March of Dimes to put an end to the dreaded disease. With the help of some famous friends, FDR called on Americans to give whatever they could to fund a cure, even if it was just a dime. Then, something awesome happened. Change became change. By working together, Americans raised millions of dollars to research a cure for polio. It was Dr. Jonas Salk, a March of Dimes funded researcher, who finally cracked the code and created a vaccine. With polio wiped out, more kids could just be kids. So what happens when you set a goal this big and actually reach it? You find new ones. The March of Dimes' new focus, preventing birth defects and infant mortality, required new donations if it was going to make a difference. Once again, America stepped up for the little guys. Only this time, multiple breakthroughs were created, including a few happy accidents. These included treatments for respiratory problems in newborns, along with innovations that took the first step towards mapping the human genome. Research backed by the March of Dimes has even led to 13 Nobel Prizes. For more than 75 years, this incredible organization has touched the lives of countless children, maybe even you. For example, if your mother took folic acid during pregnancy, then you are a March of Dimes baby. If you were born healthy at 39 weeks, had a heel prick newborn screening, or were given an APGAR score to evaluate how you were doing at birth, you are a March of Dimes baby. And if you don't have polio, you are, without a doubt, a March of Dimes baby. Now is your chance to give back and fight for little ones who can't fight for themselves. The March of Dimes is working relentlessly to end prematurity, which affects nearly 500,000 babies born in the U.S. every year, many of whom do not survive. Together, we can help every baby right now. With your help, the March of Dimes can and will find the answers and save the lives of our most fragile. There's hope in our numbers, and we all deserve a chance at a healthy, happy life. Your donations fund the research that makes that hope a reality. Because taking care of each other is what we were born to do. We are all March of Dimes babies.
We got out very early this morning, got ourselves ready, then get all the kids ready, get a quick bite to eat, and just get everybody pumped and excited about the great things we're going to do in Marching for Babies. We get to the park, and it's just a day full of excitement just to see so many families out, all the wonderfully designed shirts, and just the family coming together for such a great cause, and all the support from the different corporations. It is very breathtaking. Every year I have to stop and just take a breath and just take it all in and just be so thankful for the March of Dimes, because without them we wouldn't be here. At 22 weeks, everything just changed, you know, just like lightning struck, and my water broke, and my husband had to rush me to the hospital. And Q was delivered via emergency C-section at 24 weeks. And after that, it's a blur. When they told me he was out, he didn't cry, there was no noise, you still just heard the hustle and bustle of the healthcare team.
They said that Q probably would not make it through the week because he was born way too soon. They gave him surfactant, and they gave him some other treatment. There's a lot of things you learn that are supposed to happen in utero that don't happen when you're born premature.
Babies aren't meant to be born this early.
Baby Q's NICU journey was a roller coaster. Q suffered a brain bleed and experienced retinopathy of prematurity. He needed continuous ventilator support and had countless blood transfusions while fighting off infection after infection. 4 frightening months in the NICU came and went before baby Q could finally come home. Today, babies like Q are getting a fighting chance thanks to corporations, families, and people like you. The money you raise funds research and programs focused on preventing premature birth and gives families in the NICU much needed hope and support.
March for Babies is one place where you're surrounded by so many people who get it.
I walk because I believe all of our babies have the right to be free from disease.
It's amazing all these people that come out to support, I'm sure, because they've, you know, they personally have been affected, or their friends or families have. It's nice to have people come out and come together and support a cause like this that is so important to giving babies the best start possible.
March of Dimes and the March for Babies Walk is the single organization and event that we want to rally around and get behind. So we have a tremendous amount of support that helps in that cause.
Anytime that our customers have an opportunity to give back to their community, it builds a stronger foundation. And the March of Dimes and Publix just goes hand in hand with building a stronger community across facilities.
There's not many people that haven't been touched in our communities by a premature delivery of a newborn child. It's something that resonates so soundly with our associates. It's something that they can rally around.
The co-chair for the March for Babies campaign in Dallas was actually the COO from Methodist Healthcare System. Q was born at one of their facilities.
The employees at Methodist have that passion of care, so they understand the importance of raising money. And Tanya was so moving that having someone like that and realizing that we had an impact and that the outcome was extremely positive, everybody felt happy and willing to give even more.
Just seeing Q actually eventually go home, just seeing him starting to thrive as a little boy, you get personal gratification from all that work when you see it actually help a child do better.
Get that long walk done. We just have some fun, let our hair down, and we really have some fun over there. Remembering what we're here for is for the babies.
We really celebrate and see everyone that's participating in the March for Babies today as family.
There's nothing more important, really, than our kids, than our children, and giving them the best possible fighting chance from the moment of birth onward. I can't think of a more worthy cause to get involved with.
It's just, the whole day is just really special. We're here for all the babies. It's not just the premature babies, it's the full-term babies, it's the healthy babies, it's the sick babies, it's the babies who aren't here anymore. And they all need to be celebrated today.
Because of the March of Dimes, we have my son.
You can help give babies a healthy start in life. Sign up and start raising crucial funds at marchforbabies.org. Start a team on the March for Babies online fundraising tool. It's the easiest way to set a goal, connect with donors, and begin raising money.
I raised just over $12,000 last year, which is just unbelievable.
County has given in excess of $350,000.
So far, in the name of babies, Team Kernan's just shy of $450,000 over the last 8 years. So,
Money for the
you're
baby.
right.
Help babies have a healthy start. Give hope to real families. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org.
Well, you see what kind of excitement our walks, our March for Baby walks, create all across the country. And you think, how could I not know anything about this organization? Well, look at all those people that obviously know all about it. But we do walks in the spring all across the country. In East Tennessee, there are 7 walks total. Our walk happens in April, and then everybody comes out and celebrates after 4 months of team development, fundraising, corporate support, family teams raising money, and sponsorships, and all the different components that go into that celebration day. One thing I want to point out to all of you is there is another side to what we do. Economically, our nation is facing a crisis, if you will, on the expensive nature of prematurity on the part of the business employer. If you have women in your workforce, which most of us do, and they have a premature baby, the cost can increase so significantly that it's going to play havoc and have a major impact on premiums to cover all of your employees in the upcoming year. One day in the NICU can cost up to $100,000. And when you hear those stories of those children who spend 4.5, 5 months, some of them on in to 250 days a year, that is incredibly expensive on the part of the parents, the insured, and the employer. And you can just about bet when those premiums are being negotiated to cover your employees in the next healthcare year, those situations are definitely evaluated. This nation spends in excess of $26 billion a year in prenatal and prematurity-based situations. Our NICUs are getting full to the point where even our local hospitals, we have 2 NICU campaigns going on right now with the University of Tennessee Medical Center and Children's Hospital because their beds are getting overloaded. A lot of it has to do with the what we call NAS babies, neonatal abstinence syndrome. I can't ever say that word. These are children who are born to drug-addicted mothers, and our numbers have increased across the Appalachian region to all-time highs because of these situations. Last month alone, we were treating in our local hospitals, and I say local, well, I'm talking East Tennessee, not just Knoxville, but we were treating over 600 babies, trying to help them through those withdrawals. Typically, if a mother is, if she's addicted to any kind of opiate, any kind of stimulants, they cannot take her off of those drugs while she's pregnant. It could cause immediate death to the fetus. So they have to work with that mother to actually try to refine that, try to cut back and try to wean her off in pregnancy. So in turn, the fetus is being weaned off of that drug as well. Now, we treat the withdrawals and we try to get those babies over the hump in our hospitals. But here again, March of Dimes is investing money into research to find out maybe what those long-term effects will be once things seem to level out. So there are a lot of issues that go with prematurity, birth defects. We still have a lot of work to do. We've had a lot of successes. Currently, right now, we have $88 million invested in research grants across the country in a number of different areas. We have 5 transdisciplinary research, prematurity research centers, one of them being, well, the closest to us is in Ohio, the Ohio Collaborative. And this stuff is so over my head, I can't intelligently talk about it, but we're talking about splitting genes, combining genes, and finding out from the nitty-gritty down to the last molecule if there is anything in those genes that they can deem a cause for prematurity. So it's pretty impressive research. I will say that all of our money goes to research. You younger folks in the crowd, you probably say, well, I didn't realize. We don't advertise. We do not advertise. There's not one dime spent on advertising in this country because we believe, and I'm very proud to say, that 78 cents out of every dollar goes straight to that research. And so you don't see us on the TV monitor. You don't hear the mentions in the 30-second spots on the radio. And we sure don't have all the billboards up and down the interstate for people to look at because we raise money strictly for research. And some of it does come back into this own community here. We have just granted $22,000 research money for Cherokee Health Systems in their Centering Pregnancy program. I know in the community of Talbot, they have a location where a lot of women who don't have access to good prenatal care come to this Centering Pregnancy venue, and they discuss and they help, they support, they get nurse assistance, they get answers to their questions so that they can deliver a healthy baby. So, yes, money donated does come back into the community, but there is a huge and very intensive grant process in areas regionally to define what areas will be best to put money into and get some results. I do want to tell you about a new partnership that we have entered into with Healthcare 21 and Pfizer Pharmaceuticals. And it's particularly important in the East Tennessee area where 23% of our women in the demographic smoke. We are embarking on a smoking cessation program with Healthcare 21, Pfizer, Knox County Health Department, and some state officials. to provide programs in the next few years to decrease that number, that 23% number, knowing full well that some of those are carrying children in the prenatal stages. So we're very, very excited about that. One thing I want to mention to you, locally, we have all kinds of opportunities to get involved. If you've never been in a NICU and seen some of these children that are less than 1 pound when they're born, it's a real eye-opener. You see the distress on the families' faces. You see the weariness that they're all dealing with. They've been sitting at that hospital for days and just praying every day that their baby still has a fighting chance. If you've never been and would like to go, we do offer tours to the NICU to make people understand how this research is being used and how the outcomes are. We love good outcomes. We love success stories, but they're not all success stories. Prematurity and birth defects are the #1 killer of babies, and that is the bottom line.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah.
I want to mention there's plenty of material up here that I brought. My audiovisual skills failed me today. I had planned to put them on the monitor and let you see them, but I did print them out, and feel free to pick up any of this as you leave. We'd love to hear from you if you'd like to get involved. We would dearly love to have you.
Susie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excellent. Susie, we have a book we donate, we'd like to donate on your behalf to Pond Gap School, and it's Please Mr. Panda. So if you would sign that, and we also have a commemorative paperweight for the Bearden Rotary Club for you for speaking to us today. So thank you very much. Excellent
Thank you
program.
all for having us.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Susie. All right. Thank you. You know, it's kind of neat with the initiation of March of Dimes and polio, and then we're involved with the polio eradication. What they started, we're trying to finish. So, you know, last year, just recently, they announced polio with a year without any, or Africa, the continent of Africa went a year without any polio cases. So that was, you know, a big step towards eradication worldwide, and hopefully we're going to get there. I think they're projecting by 2018. Announcements for the day, there's no football tickets. I guess Tennessee's away in Florida next week, and I'd like to state Leo got us a camera, so we're videotaping. That's the reason I mentioned something Rose about keeping it clean. Leo's got us a camera, so we're going to be, I guess, on our webpage. So he put one program on there already, so we can kind of, you know, if you want to go back and revisit and see our program again, you get an opportunity. Gary, I could call on you for Family of Rotary, please. Update.
Okay. Last week, as everybody knows, Roy Radical was won the winner's award, and this past game he was the winner of the award. And last week had a notice that a certain member in our community allowed him to win, and so she so generously did that again this week. And if this keeps up, we may never see Roy again. He may just keep winning.
That's right.
If you all remember, last week I talked about what was in the news, and one of the things in the news involved Oliver and the property that he found for dermatologists. What wasn't in that article was that Stuart Anderson and the architecture firm he's associated with, George Hayward Architecture, will do architecture and design people for that project. So, big for Stuart. And we have a birthday we're doing birthdays from Friday to Thursday. We have a birthday coming up this week. Hank Smith.
All right.
So let's sing happy birthday to Hank.
Yeah. The young 91 on Monday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Hank. Happy birthday to you. You see how coordinated we are without our leader up here leading us along? Happy birthday, Haynes.
Thank you very much. Our extended Rotary family happened to need to use W. McLaughlin's services this past week, and he belongs to the Turkey Creek Sunset Club. And on September 25th, they're having their fundraiser, which is a poker tournament. We're going to have emergent hot dogs beginning at 6, and the games start at 6:30. It's $50 a ticket to enter the tournament. And it's. Did it say where it's going to be at?
It's where they meet. It's at that church, and I can't recall the name of it. I know I donated 50 to that last, and boy, they got it pretty quick too. It was a lot of fun though. The hamburger, hot dogs.
It is a gamble. So it's still the right place or not.
Yeah, they're not telling. They don't want the revenues to catch up with them, I guess.
Pond Gap Reading. Hey, Wayne.
Pond Gap Reading. Wait, Gary.
Congratulations. A board shorter number. That's right here. Yeah, I got one. We had a glitch between Dick and I. Dick's not, he's out of town this week, so he asked me to do this. We had a glitch getting the sheets passed and it disappeared. So you signed up on it already. It's not there, so make sure you sign up before. If I can get that back, I'll give it front at the end of the meeting and get that. This week we had covered 3 classes out of 4, but we only had 2 people reading. Andy read, and Rosa stepped up big time and took 2 classes. Can you hear me? So we really appreciate that, Rosa. Now, I'll tell you a little quick story of why you might want to read. Last week, I went over and read, and the kids picked out a book, and it was about a chameleon. And the chameleon, changed colors and everything, and it eats like coming out and catching a fly. Then I went to a zoo and saw all these other animals I've never seen before. And I said, gee, if I could be fast, if I could run like a deer, if I was as big as an elephant, and all these different animals, and we morphed into all these different animals. And a fly came by, and he couldn't catch the fly. And he said, I wish I could just be myself again. And he morphed back into himself. And that provided an opportunity to talk to the kids, that tell them that, hey, every one of you are different, but every one of you are special. And it was just a great opportunity. And after that reading, all these kids came up and gave me big hugs. And that's why I like going over there, because these kids really appreciate reading that we do to them. And a lot of times you get a book like this that you can relate back to them and tell them why they're special.
Yeah.
Gary, can we see on the website where we signed up?
No, because they didn't put anything on the website this year, so that didn't work out well. Once if you already signed up, that should make you take
There's a sign-up sheet being passed around. You can sign up, Jim.
That started today blind.
And that's
What about all the sign-ups people did last month? We lost that sheet. We're starting over. Right.
Yeah.
You're in charge
now. Not only are we electronically challenged, but we're paper challenged as well. Let's see, where were we? I'm sorry, you're probably looking for the reunion next door. They're having their 20th reunion next door, I think. So 67. Wow, who would have guessed? It's awesome.
We got a couple things from the floor.
Yeah, Greg, you have something from the floor?
Yeah, just remind the group fest is next weekend. There's flyers on the table. Please come and support the church.
Yeah,
and
good deal.
Have a good time. More than that.
Yeah, that's pretty, is it Uzo or?
We might have some Uzo, cannot confirm or deny.
Marshall, you've got something?
Every now and then I have an idea, and I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but we had, a member in our club, Constantine Christodoulou, that made a mistake. And I've been talking to, Jim here, and I was thinking about maybe starting a fund to help, pay off what he owed for the church. I don't have anything to do with the church, I've never been there, I've provided everything, but it's just an idea. If you wanted, I was talking about maybe setting up a fund to help pay off what he lost.
Well,
y'all know more about it than I do, and it's probably not a very good idea, but I think that is good.
Yeah, well, appreciate that. Speaking of fundraising, one of the things we're focusing on at our vision this coming Monday, Ray, you were going to make an announcement about our visioning event, which is exactly what we're looking at is fundraising and the projects we want to go forward with.
Yeah, it's Monday, 5:15. There's a sign-up sheet. Hopefully everybody signed up and actually make it. There's still more room, so the more people we get, the more ideas we get. But I mean, the primary purpose of the event is to take a first look at both the most effective ways for us to raise funds and the projects that we support. Club visioning process support a way for everybody to participate and be heard. It's a great platform to plan for the future. Our event will be facilitated by 3 Rotarians who trained in this process and have worked with many other district clubs to get their funds and figure out what they want to do and the most important thing for the community. Yeah, I mean, hopefully everybody signed up to be there. If we can fill it up, that's the main objective, to get everybody there, put in something they think would be good for our community. Another thing is membership. Everybody needs to remember we always want to try to grow our club. Members are important. Anybody thinks that their neighbor, their colleague, whoever that would be a good Rotarian, that's something to always remember to try to bring people. And I think Tom's going to try to get to where anybody that is a sponsor, there's going to be actual new pin for sponsors. So when you do bring in a new member, you get a sponsor pin there too. The more people, the better to help.
I think that's a Rotary International initiative on the pin, but we're definitely going to make sure it happens, that those that bring in new members, sponsor new members, are going to get a commemorative pin, like Ray was saying. And it's just a small token, but it's a way of certainly we can show pride in bringing new members into our club. And on that event Monday, I think it starts at 5. You mentioned 5:15. I think.
Start at 5:30. We'll be there by 5:15.
Okay, good deal. And it.
There'll be food.
It's very important that we get feedback from the membership on what we want to do as far as fundraising and what projects to go forward with. I know Steve's planning to be there. There's a good broad spectrum of members going to be there, so it's really good. And there may be, is that sheet being passed around? Is it full yet? It's a clipboard. It's the one with, it's about the Monday event. That may be it. Visionings. Is it full? Okay, we need some more names. We've got room for 10 more probably. So, please attend. I'd like to thank Stacy and Sarah for coming. Be sure to get a coupon book and on your way out. And Brad's going to also be taking names for the dictionary project on the way out. So Brad, you want to bring us up to date on that?
A couple quick announcements on the dictionary project. The labels will be put on same place as last year on Tuesday the 29th. That's going to be at 4:30. If you need directions, if you've never been there, it's It's a pretty quick process, usually takes us maybe an hour to 2 hours, depending on how many people we have. Really appreciate anybody's support. Once again, 4:30 on September 29th, and that is a Tuesday. As far as signups are concerned, we've had a good response so far, but we still have 21 schools that need folks to deliver. If you've never done that before, the children are very appreciative. All that you do is after we send the dictionaries out to the schools, call them, schedule an appointment to come out, and you give a short speech about Rotary. We can help you with that if you're uncomfortable with what to say. But I appreciate you guys very much. I'll be standing at that door as you leave. Anybody that's interested in getting signed up for us.
Okay, Brad, thank you very much. Do we have a map where we could see, send out to all the members to where that location is?
We can get an address.
I'll send an email out.
Okay. Thanks, Todd. That'd be great, because I'm challenged by getting around Knoxville somehow. Charlie, you had a word?
I did. We're checking one last time on perfect attendance for last Rotary year, so there are sheets on the table with everybody who we know who had perfect attendance. If you're not on that list and should be, please let me know in the next couple of days, because we're going to start ordering pins, and we'll do the presentations in a few weeks. So please get in touch with me if you're not there.
Okay, thank you. Susie, I'd like to thank you very much, Chelsea, for coming, and an excellent program today. And also, we end with our four-way trivia test. Raise your hand if you know the answer. First hand to be raised, we'll try to call on you. And today's question is, what was Rotary's first public service project? Gary.
Public toilet in downtown Chicago.
That's correct. Good. I told you I was going to did you get one of those books out there? That's good. Public toilet, Chicago, 1907. And they called them city comfort stations. So that was our first service project. Janice, mobile mills. Sorry, I forgot that, but thank you. Okay, that's concludes our meeting today. If someone, Peyton, lead us out.
I got it.
Four-way test.
The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, second, third,
with a free goodwill and better friendships,
and fourth.
will it be beneficial to all concerned.